Hello and welcome to the Book Writers Club. This is a presentation by Fundamental Writings. This is a presentation for people who are interested in writing books. We've put together this project so that we work together and we write your book peer-to-peer style. So as I've said, my name is Mangaliso Sicelo Wabtelezi. My friends call me Coach. You can do the same. You know, we are looking for those storytellers, the people that say, I feel there's a book in me that I would like to write. We work with you. We make sure that your story is told. And we help you to put it together in a particular way. So our work, we work a lot with entrepreneurs. Our work is mainly in the business coaching space. Since 2012, we've been coaching and we've started 5 companies that we use as our mobile classroom. So what that means is when you are interested in being coached by us, we take you and we put you in a scenario where you can run an actual business. This will give you practical business management experience. You know, we figured a long time ago from training, because we've been training for a while now, we figured a long time ago that entrepreneurs, some things are not in the book, you know, are not as theoretical, they are more practical. So since 2012, we've conceptualized some companies, and, you know, for people who are interested in business coaching, we give them a company to run. Then we can really observe them from a company that we know and understand. Of course, we also do some talks. We also sell some CDs, but we'll speak a lot about that next time. For now, we want to present to you the Book Writers Club. The PwC is a passion project. This is a project that we conceptualized because we realized that there are many people who desire to share a big message, you know, people who want to write a book. We always feel, especially as entrepreneurs, so we talk a lot with entrepreneurs, we always feel after everything that you have learned practically, something needs to go on paper so that it helps somebody else that is coming before you. You always understand, because you would have read a book as well to get you to where you are. It always feels important to also honor that by also leaving your own words behind to help other entrepreneurs that are coming behind you. You know, this we do also for people who need an accountability group. So what we do is we write in groups. We meet on Zoom so that for distance as well, we are able to meet wherever we are. But basically is to have a group that you are writing with. It can be very difficult to put together a book, especially when you're doing it alone. You can miss those targets. You'll find yourself sometimes not even filling in the pages. But when you know that there's a whole group that is writing with you, at least we hold each other accountable. You know that you have certain deliverables for your book, and we make sure that we work together in that instance. We also do this for extra income. You know, this is an extra income stream. And truthfully, books don't really do that well in the market, to be honest with you. Books don't really pay you that much, especially when you're a beginner writer. It's very hard to penetrate that market, and there are a lot of books that are on shelves. But, you know, in as much as there's not a lot of money in the book itself, the book allows you to then, you know, access other opportunities that give you extra income stream, things like talks, things like podcasts, you know, etc., etc. And with this initiative, you know, we really believe that we offer some support and accountability that beginner writers really need. I hope you'll be with me in this journey. You'll have to have a pen and paper with you. You'll have to do some practical work. So let's begin. Let's get your book written. So why write a book? And you'll see that at the bottom that we've given you some action steps. So now you have your pen and pad on the side, and you'll be writing some quick notes, you know, of what your motivation is for writing a book. This is going to be a very important paragraph or so that you'll put together, because this is something that we can also put at the back of your book cover. You know, this is what tells the audience what to expect in your book. Some ideas. For us, really, a book is a big business card. You really need to write a book because it's a big business card. This is just now giving you an understanding of why we think you really should be writing yourself a book, especially as an entrepreneur. You want to position yourself as a brand. You want to position yourself as an expert in your field. Some of you guys have been running your businesses for a very long time. If I've been running a business for 5 years, I have enough experience in a certain specific topic within that field, within that passion that I've started a business in. I now know some things that I can say to some people who are still starting out. And a book becomes that big business card, something that you put on the table to say, this is who I am, and this is my field, this is what I know about my field. I've positioned myself in my field. Also, you want to write a book to leave a legacy. You want to let your book tell your life story, to tell about your life's passions, to tell about what you did in your lifetime. It's very important to leave history in your own words and to leave history in your own terms. It's very important to leave words behind for the people that you're leaving a legacy for. For them to be able to point and say, this is what my father did, or this is what my mother did. It's very important to put it into words, to put it into context. It really does help when you cover it in a book. Definitely for extra income, and we're not just talking income from book sales, but we're talking merchandising. We're talking, people start to do caps and to do like t-shirts that promote the book. You can be able to monetize that. We're talking talks, we're talking podcasts, we're talking, you could be, now on YouTube, you can start a YouTube channel, and you can start to really drive traffic to your book, and also monetizing and making some money by doing all those extra things. And we'll talk a little bit about that as well as we go along. But yes, we believe that these are the reasons why you should write a book. Now, you need to figure out what is the main message of the book. You need to write that one power sentence that grabs the attention of your audience. This is what summarizes the book in totality. In fact, this is the same thing that you will need. That little sentence that we write at the bottom of your title? This could be this one power sentence that says what the book is about and keeps me interested in reading further. So you need to figure out now, what is your main message? What is the book about? Just take that piece of paper and pen and just start jotting down, what is this book about? Also, you want to tell what is the biggest idea that you want to convey with your book. It's the same as saying what is the book about, but you want to have it as one main idea, so that even as you present your book, it comes off as the main takeaway, because it's the main idea that the book is discussing. So this is just for you to understand that one sentence and how you're coming up with it. You're trying to ask yourself, what is my biggest idea that I want to put out into the world? How do I want to be known to the world? That's another way of putting it. How do you want to be known to the world? Now, this is very important. You want to make sure that you write about something that you're already passionate about. Your main message, especially for your first book, because there will be some very difficult writing times. You might be drawing blanks. You might be looking at a blank page. What will carry you through is if you are writing about a message that you are very familiar with. So what you want to do is, what do I really want to be known for? What have I really been putting together in my lifetime? What do I have the most knowledge in? That will help you to kind of then hone in on one power sentence that says, this is what I'm leaving behind. And how do you link it to your own life story then? How do you link it to your even business? Or how do you link it to your products and services? Because at the end of the day, you have to sell. So if you are already running a business, you must be asking yourself, what is my main message and how does it link with my life story and my business? Because now you are branding yourself, now you are positioning yourself, you are becoming the actual brand. So what you are really selling is, yes, I have a product in my business. So I'll make you a very practical example. If, for instance, you're in the baking space and you decide to write a book with us, what that basically means is that you get that big business card and you will have that one main message that you want to say to other people that could be coming up in business. But now you're positioning yourself, and the story that you are telling through your book is linked to your products as well. So at the end of the day, you can be able to drive people to your product so they buy your product by them knowing you from the book that you've written, that assists them in one sphere of life or another. That's the main kind of way that you need to think about how you come up with your main message. All right, let's move it along. So who is your audience? I'd like for you to summarize who your audience is by making sure that you're as specific as possible. Are we talking about male or female? age group, how old are the people that we are talking about, what are their interests, where do we find these people, and how do they like to be talked to, how do they like to be sold to. These are some very key things that you need to remember when you're thinking about your audience. I don't even have to spend a lot of time describing to you why audience analysis is so important to writing a book. Essentially, this affects directly your pocket as well. Remember, you still have to market this book. And if you are trying to talk to an audience that is way too wide for the book, you'll find yourself spending a lot on the communication part of your marketing to talk to people who are probably not even interested in your niche. So you want to hone in and narrow down and be as specific as possible. These will be your key building blocks for your marketing strategy. If you are very specific and you know exactly who your audience is, it will be very easy to sell your book. Now, there's a quote by Wally Leb. It says, if the book is true, it will find an audience that is meant to read it. You don't even have to worry about whether you'll find people who will read your book or not. Don't worry about that. You'll be selling to a niche. And the selling strategy that we've prepared for you, not only will you be using social media, but you'll also be doing direct selling. And you'll also be selling without selling. So by direct selling, it means that you'll be contacting people that already know you. That's your low-hanging fruit. And you won't be pushy when you're selling to them, but you'll get them to come on board as people that will help you to sell your book. We'll talk more about those strategies on part 2. So why this message? Why you? I need you to write me a 2 to 3 paragraph that motivates the audience. Why should they read further? This forms part of that back cover. This forms part of what is the main message that you're telling, and why you? Why now? Why this book? There are many books that sit on shelves. Think of this as you discussing your USP in your business, your unique selling proposition. Why this book? I need that motivation. I need to know, why should I take this book and why should I leave that other one? What's your motivation? What's your why? You know that why is your backbone. What we do oftentimes changes depending on times, depending on circumstances, depending on scenarios. But why we do it doesn't often change, because that depends on our values. So what do you really value? What is it about you that will carry you to write this book until it's finished? What's the main takeaway? And we are again talking about a feeling here. You must remember, you'll meet a lot of people in your lifetime, and you won't always remember what they said to you, but you will definitely remember how they made you feel. So how do you want the audience to feel once they've read your book? What do you want the reader to take away from the book? What's your unique selling proposition here? We are literally asking you about your USP. If you are able to just jot this down, you put it down and you summarize it to a 2 to 3 paragraph. It must be punchy, it must be direct, it must be understandable. We can put this in the back of your book, and it can then say to the person who's picking up the book, this is why you need to read this book. This is why this book was meant for you. You will see on some of the books, when we start to make you the examples, people write even, this is who this book is written for. That's that why this message, and why does it have to be written now? So let's get into your outline. We are picking up pace, and this is where the gist of the matter is really. This is what we have come to, and this is the main big idea that I wanted to leave with you. This is the way that you will be putting together your book, and we will be assisting each other. It helps that you'll be doing it with a group that also went through the same kind of process, so that we are all on the same page, so to speak. So what you want to do is to put together a body for your book. I need you to identify 3, 4, or even 5 big ideas, big principles that you want your audience to learn with your book. Now, these could be chapters when we are done. These could be, for some people, it becomes part 1, part 2, part 3, of a book. Sometimes you'll find that one idea becomes 3, 4 chapters, But there must be these main big takeaways that are these huge chunks of the book. And we'll be building the body of the book around those concepts and around those ideas. Of course, we want our book to flow. So what we want to do is we want to give certain steps, guide and direct and navigate the audience, the reader. We take these big ideas and we break them down and we give them little kind of sub ideas under them, sub principles, so that it flows with the book and everything connects. We don't want to have ideas that are so in isolation that you're talking about five different things and there's nothing that is tying them together. So we will use flow to kind of build what ties them together so that the audience is taken on a journey and every chapter affects the next chapter. Each page must always lead gradually to the next page. And of course, we will need weight. We will need to show some examples. We will need to show some research. We may have to do some interviews. In fact, I advise that we do some interviews. It allows our book to even be stretched further because whoever that we interview, now they are expecting this book to come out. Now they also hold us accountable to make sure that we finish on time. Now they also market our book because they are part of it. They hear their own voice through the book. You want to give some exercises, you want to give some quotes, you want to give some stories, you want to quote somebody else that has treated the same matter that you are talking about, the same topics that you are treating in your book. It's very important for giving your book weight to give all those examples. So what you will do is once you have your big ideas, the main ideas, they will keep your focus. They will keep the main segments of the book, which will give your readers good balance of the total product and what it is about. And while you are making it flow, this is how well you will take the audience on a journey. Build up your story, making sure that the book doesn't become flat in the middle. There's always that stretch in the middle when you're writing a book where things become a little bit flat, because oftentimes when we start, we have a clear idea of the end of the book. And then we work very hard to come up with the beginning, which is very difficult. But once you've spent all that energy, in the middle, those pages become a little bit empty and a little bit difficult to navigate through. That's why you want to write with a group. You want to help that flow in the middle. You want to make sure that you don't give all away in the beginning of the book, but you want to carry it in a journey, kind of a sequence. And of course, once you have your examples and your research and your interviews, you'll have good reference. The book will now have credibility and grounding. The book will have points of rapport that you can point to and say, we are quoting Dr. Soren So, who also wrote in his book this and that. It allows you to add in and fill in those pages, but it allows your reader to also not be with you alone in this ship, but it allows them to explore other things as well, and it connects you with a bigger community of other people that treated the same subject matter, Now, simply, you will take your pen and paper on the side. You will identify these 3 to 4, maybe even 5 principles. If you have more, good. But some people usually just end at 3. For now, start with what you can start with. And you put them down for me, and you start just jotting down for me. Just put it down as much as you can. Do not worry about editing. Do not worry about how it sounds and how it feels. Do not worry about any of those things. Right now, you are just writing the book as pure and straightforward as you can. Just lay the idea as it comes. You will need to be very confident here. This is where most people who want to write end up not even starting. So if you want to start, it's by sitting down and just starting. Just start laying all the ideas that you have for whatever field that you would like to have a conversation in. And then you will break down those principles, those 5 ideas. You will give them 3 other sub-topics, so to speak. Now, again, we said we are using this one for flow. So when you break this down, you are trying to make sure that what you're coming up with links with that first idea. It's part of the first idea, but it has 3 different parts, for instance. If you want to go beyond 3 different parts, that's cool. If you have only 2, that's also cool. But remember, you are trying to also add volume to the book without making the book too repetitive, or, you are trying to select certain words. You're trying to make this book flow. You're trying to connect the dots. So this is how you will break down your 5 big principles. And then there's a further breakdown. This is your last breakdown. So you have your principle and you have your subheading, but now you have research, you have interviews, you have exercises that you want to quote for that part. Same first idea, but the second subheading, I also have interviews, I have research, I have things and things that I can quote and stories. that I can refer to. Same idea, but the third subheading, again, research, interviews, exercises, so forth and so on. This will make sure that you have now enough for me to look at, sit with you, and start to fill in the pages. Now we will start to just add, because now we will have headings. Now we start to just add and just add and just add, and we'll fill up those pages and fill up those pages. Then we'll make it into a conversation so that the reader is not left behind, but the reader is also with us. We carry the reader with us as we go along with it. I hope that's cool for everybody. That is the presentation that we wanted to bring. I think all that remains now is just a couple of tips. What we would have wanted to do is to not wait until part 2 to mention things like apps, but these are the tips, and this is what part 1 will be like. We still need to just put out the outline. Please, when you do the outline, just put it as raw as you can. And I mean, what we really want to talk about is how important your title and your cover and your back cover will be. That is everything. So keep that in mind as we're putting together the words. Just remember that you still want that one word that when you are busy writing your outline comes off catchy for a title. But we'll speak a little bit more in part 2 about the cover and the title. They are very, very important to the book. This is the first engagement with your audience. So an audience wants to see a cover. We are very visual as people. Wants to see a cover that says to them, continue reading. And of course, the use of apps. Again, on part 2, we'll speak about the use of apps, particularly the apps that allow you, because I know that some of you guys say you don't really type much, you're not used to typing, you might not even have time to do typing. There are apps that you can use. You just download it onto your phone, and then it converts your audio into your text. So you will be doing it like sending me a voice note, but you'll be then just getting those audios converted to typing. And for those of you guys that I promised you'll get a scribe, yes, we have a scribe in house. So some of you guys who say I really can't do the typing part of it, you'll just be recording voice notes for us, and then you'll have to pay the scribe, of course. Then the scribe will type it out for you. But again, these are just tips of how you can get going with your book. Use apps. Also Google for yourself and find out a bit more about apps, and think a lot about your sales and marketing campaign and plans. And we'll do that again on part 2. We'll just go in on that, because we want to show you how to sell on social media. We want to show you how to target that audience correctly. And there are a few other tricks and things and tips that you can do on social media that can really push your campaign, really take your book to that next level. But also we believe in that direct sales. We really believe in that, in selling through relationships. We find that it works even better for the kind of entrepreneur that we work with. So we want you to direct sell. We want you to speak to the people that are already in your phone book, and we'll give you that full strategy and that full structure once we speak about part 2. Also, we'll touch on budgeting. Budgeting will mainly just be dependent on is it commercial publishing or is it self-publishing that you're looking at. Then from just those 2 ideas, we will break down for you, this is how you should be budgeting correctly for either one. Of course, many of you came to us because you want to self-publish. You are entrepreneurs, you want to go into that space. You're not really looking to, run the whole race of belonging to a pub. That's also fine. We'll give you some reasons why a commercial publisher is helpful as well, in terms of if you really want the book to hit markets, especially as a starter, but then you have to write a certain type of book as well. I know that the most of you want to go into self-publishing, so we'll do a lot of budgeting and how will it work for you with self-publishing. Again, the title, the cover, and the back cover are everything. So budget-wise, also a lot of money will go into marketing and making sure you have a kick-ass cover. That's what we will do together. But for now, I believe that you are ready to do your outlines. Please remember that you don't have a lot of time, because we'll be writing together. So you'll only have about a week or so to put together your outline, and then we expect that you are ready. And then we'll all now be filling in our pages. Thank you very much for listening. And I really wish you good luck. Writing a book is not that easy. It takes quite a bit of time, and time away from family, and you need to set exact time. But I'll give you all those tips. I'll get in contact with you guys. And some of you who are not on this call, you just please phone me up if you need some assistance and some motivation. You do need to, it does work better if you set yourself time that this is my writing time, and set yourself good space where you're going to be writing. But, different strokes, different folks. So for me, just thank you for listening and good luck.